We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast. I'm Kevin, and joining me today is the co-founder of Pastrami Nation himself, Mr. Jason Smith. What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing very, very well. Thank you very much. It's cooling down a little bit. Today was really hot. I know, not hot like compared to
Still hot.
you guys, it's hot, but hot enough.
No,
Oregon hot.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't too bad over here. I think you guys were probably might have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're 104 out here.
Ooh.
I'm fine. You guys are crazy.
You guys got it. And of course, Mr. Christian Nacorda. How's it going, sir?
How goes it? Glad to be
Good.
here.
Glad to have you.
It's good to see you. Yeah, glad to have you. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for checking out the show. As usual, like, subscribe, share. That really, really helps us out a lot. On today's show, we're going to talk about some bad boys. We're going to talk about some hats. And Christian wanted to take it away. So, Christian, take it away with what you want to talk about.
Really quickly, and I just wanted to kind of address this right at the top. If you guys are fans of, if I'm sure like everybody here, you guys are all on YouTube. If any of you guys rely on YouTube for your like comic book information, you're probably familiar with the comic story and Benny. I've been a huge fan of his channel for the last decade. I can't even, when it was between him and Comic Book Girl 19 and Comics Explained, like, love them. Love Benny especially, like the gusto and the bravado. If you've ever watched his channel, he literally just reads out like comic books, and it's beautiful what he does. He really kind of gives it his all. Tragically, yesterday he passed away at the age of 40 by an accident. I'm gonna try to not cry. I don't know him personally, but yeah, it's rough because I just watched Rob's video. Rob from Comics Explained, and that was hard to see. His wife kind of tweeted about it last night, so I've been seeing a lot of stuff. I saw it on TikTok last night, and like his assistant was posting about it. It's tough. If you know the channel and you know Benny, from what it seems like he's exactly the kind of guy that he portrays himself to be. From all accounts, he is exactly what you think he is. He's like the sweet, bigger than life, just loud, lovable teddy bear of a human being, and that sucks. That really sucks to lose him.
Very sad.
A few years ago, I would say a good like 7 years ago, we lost John Schnepp. If you guys used to watch like Collider or AMC Talk, all of my sweaty nerds out there, that it's really rough, like losing. I think it's different when we lose people like YouTubers or like, people that we know through social media than like celebrities, because, especially with like YouTube, these people come into your house, like, if not daily, weekly, we really get to this feeling like we get to know these people. So, I feel it's sad for the community. It's sad for YouTube. So if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, if you've never checked out Comic Story, and check it out. It's really cool. If there are comic books that you've always been interested in, just haven't had the time to check out, look it up on his channel. It'll be like way funner. And yeah, if you've never seen it, you'll be happy there. So love and our thoughts to his wife and to everybody else connected to them. That's
so young. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah. Huge bummer. But sadly, here we are. That's kind of a rough way to start. But thank you guys for being here. But yeah, again, much love to everybody.
Our prayers go out to his family, definitely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was reading about that. I was reading about it today. Just tragic. We don't know the exact details or anything, but
no
need to.
Rob mentioned he had just talked to him like 20 minutes before it happened, so it sounds like it was a car accident or something like just horrifically tragic. So, yeah, I don't know. He just seemed like such a cool dude, and I don't know, if there was ever a comic book I was always excited to like, let me check out Benny's channel and see if he has a video on it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, thoughts and prayers with him and his family, of course. let's try to lighten the mood just a little bit. Let's talk about some Bad Boys action. So we had Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is apparently saving the box office right now, which is insane, absolutely crazy. It's doing what everyone thought Furiosa was going to do, but turned out to be Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. They're here to save the day. We got a couple of 90s icons coming to save the box office today, which is exactly what
Fresh Prince.
Yeah, the Fresh Prince and Martin,
Yeah.
Those two, guys are back. They're Bad Boys 4, technically. Bad Boys Ride or Die is what it's called. Of course, this is, like I said, the fourth film in the franchise. So this movie. You can read my full review on pastramination.com. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I do want to say, number one, this is like the definition of a summer blockbuster. Like, you're going to go watch this, lose your mind for 2 hours and just completely get lost in the story, the absurdity of it, just everything, chaos, crazy. It's everything you want from not just a summer blockbuster, but a Bad Boys movie. Like, it's exactly what you expect when you go watch a Bad Boys movie. One thing that they're doing with this franchise. So it's me and Christian were talking about this weekend a little bit about it is essentially the franchise that Fast and Furious wants to be, right? But they are definitely trying to Fast and Furious it up a little bit more, right? So you have more, the original two films were just, the only characters that really held over from movie to movie was Mike Lowry, Marcus Burnett, and the police captain, right? Those are like the two main characters. In a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, we got Bad Boys for Life, which featured a whole new ensemble of characters and everything. We had the tactical team they were working with behind the scenes. It consisted of Vanessa Hudgens, and she's kind of like the new kid on the block, along with the guy, I forget his name, but he's really great too. So they're kind of building out their family, so to speak, right? You have them. Did you guys watch? So Christian, I know you haven't watched any of the Bad Boys movies, but Jason, have you watched Bad Boys for Life?
Not the new one. I've seen the other three.
Yeah, Bad Boys for Life. So you watched.
That was number 3. Yeah.
Number 3, yeah. So sorry, some spoilers here for a movie that's been out for 5 years, but you find out in part 3 in Bad Boys for Life that Mike Lowry, Will Smith's character, had a son, and the son's older now. He's this badass, assassin that works for the Mexican cartels, and you find that on the second one. He gets him. He goes to jail or whatever. He basically does some stuff, gets thrown in prison. This one, they kind of bring him back. They have to essentially kind of bust him. This is all in the trailer. They kind of bust him out of jail, and they start working with him because they're fugitives from the law now. So Mike and Marcus are now running from the law, and they're basically trying to clear. So let's go back to the start really quickly. All right. The captain who did pass away in For Life, he's being framed for harboring cartel money. He's being framed, and they're saying that he was corrupt and that he was helping the cartels in, the Miami PD. He gets framed for that. Marcus and Mike are like, no, that's not him. We know that's not him. So in turn, they're trying to clear his name, but something happens in the process where they get framed for doing something that they didn't do, and so they get thrown in the whole kind of pile. So all three of them are essentially fugitives for helping the cartels. So they're on the run, and Armando, who's Will Smith's son, they have to break him out of jail because he's one of the only guys who can actually identify who could be doing this. So there are fugitives running from the law with him. So it's a really, really interesting dynamic this time around. You have people like a bunch of people coming back from Bad Boys for Life. You remember Reggie? Don't you remember Reggie, Jason?
Yeah.
Reggie. Oh, yeah. I don't want to spoil this, but there is a scene in this movie that literally, we only had like 4 or 5 people in our theater. Everybody lost their shit, and it had to do with Reggie. It was the coolest. In the last 2 movies, Reggie's this really soft-spoken, very quiet, kind of like, he's just always like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. He joins you find out he joins the Marines in Bad Boys for Life. This one, he's still a Marine. But when you see what he's capable of as a Marine, it's Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's John Wick level action. Like it's
nice.
insane. It's insanity. It's probably the biggest moment of the movie. He totally stole the movie, and that scene probably lasts for a good 5 minutes or so. But when you're watching it, you're like, I was even in shock. I looked at Eli. I was like, is this happening right now? Like, what the hell? But yeah, man, I really, 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 really like this one. I think this is a very, I hope they don't go the complete Fast and Furious route and just get completely insane and end up going to space or anything. I do not want Bad Boys in space. Okay.
Tanks flying out of the sky.
Tanks flying out of the skies, anything like that. And one thing that I really appreciate about this franchise is that they've not only been consistent, right? Because the first two were directed by Michael Bay. And of course, these last two were not directed by Michael Bay. These last two are directed by Adil and Bala, who are these really, really great Danish filmmakers. They directed that Batgirl movie that came out, the one that was shelved, unfortunately. They also did the first, I think, 2 or 3 episodes of Miss Marvel, which I thought were really, really well done. So they really have an eye for action. They grew up as fans of this franchise. They grew up as fans of Michael Bay. So they're not, and I wouldn't even say they're doing the Michael Bay impression. They're elevating Michael Bay. Like they're doing what Michael Bay should be doing now, right? Like this is the next evolution of what Michael Bay should be doing. And you even got a lot of that with Bad Boys for Life. Like Bad Boys for Life, it felt like a natural progression for the film series and for the characters. Like everything just kind of fell into place and makes sense. And that's one thing I love about the series is that it's consistently good. The characters are consistently evolving. Like there's this evolution that happens. You watch the first one and you watch this one and you can see the characters' arcs. Like you can see them develop as characters, which I think is a beautiful thing. And a lot of these action franchises, they forget about the character development. And I think they do it really well with this franchise. Will Smith's character, particularly Mike Lowry, he at the beginning of this movie, like he does something that you're like, oh, it makes sense for his character, but you kind of get to see him kind of settle down a little bit more. He's not the wild guy that he used to be. You know what I mean? He's not the gung-ho, guns blazing guy anymore. He's changed. He's grown older. Martin Lawrence's character, on the other hand, Marcus, almost kind of revert in a weird way. Like something happens. He has kind of a near-death experience, and he starts to see life through a different lens. So he kind of becomes the guns blazing guy. Like he doesn't give a crap about anything anymore. The running joke in the movie is that he can't die. Like he thinks he can't die. So like, he's doing all these crazy things. It's really funny, really great. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have not missed a beat. Their chemistry together is top notch. And it's really great to see these guys back on screen again. And I do have to talk about something specifically since we are talking about Will Smith. It's coming up. People think that people who like this movie are kind of giving Will Smith a pass for what happened at the Oscars all those years ago, the infamous slap. That's what I've been hearing in like film circles and stuff. And honestly, I think people have moved on for the most part, right? I think he didn't in the whole pantheon of things that Hollywood elites have done. Like this is nothing. Like this is nothing. He seemed to have repent, for what he's done. He's been building up all this goodwill over the past 3 years or so, or whatever, however long it's been. And I don't think that go ahead.
I think mainly over the past few years, we've realized in that household who the real bad guy is.
100%.
I think
100%.
That's why we're like, okay, well.
Absolutely. And I do think that there's room for people to make mistakes and like be redeemed, right? Like that's kind of this whole thing, right? Like forgiveness. And like, it's like, there are some people who have done things that are just unforgivable. And I completely, I have people like Harvey Weinstein, who's been who's got away with this stuff for decades. Obviously irredeemable,
Speaking of which, did you guys see that interview with Kevin Spacey? I think it was like really
I didn't
recent.
see it, but I
Oh,
heard about
geez.
it. How he
He
admitted he was too handsy or something like that.
Oh, I just saw part of it on TikTok, and he was like crying about, like, he asked the guy asked him where he's living these days, and then he broke down and started crying, and he's like, "Funny, you should just say that I had to sell my house, and I don't have this, I don't have any money, and like I don't have any." So he's like, "Wait, so what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "How much do you have saved up?" He's like, "Nothing." And he
No, he
was
did
like,
an interview with Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan, that's what it was.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, it must have been a different part of the interview, but he was talking in the same interview. He basically admitted that he gets too handsy at times, and like it's just like all this BS. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like
the trial finished, and he was found innocent.
he was,
So you know
like,
what I mean?
yeah, no, and that's exactly it, right? It's like
It's still icky. It's still like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I'm not absolving him of anything of
no,
wrong,
absolutely,
but you know, at the same time too, you know,
yeah, and I think
and
there
it's
needs,
good that he's big enough to admit, you
yeah.
know.
And it's like it's this weird thing that I've actually been thinking a lot about the last few days, mainly when it comes to, you know, in regards to this, but also in the overall picture of society and where we're at, right? Like people, I, listen, this is a huge stretch, but just bear with me for a second. When people talk about things like prison reform, right? Like they talk about how they want these prisons to be institutions where people rehabilitate and they're able to get back into society, and we should be able to forgive people for their mistakes. That's on a more a bigger scale, right? But you can't forgive one person for having a bad day and just having a bad few weeks from what I've gathered, you know, months, right?
Yeah,
And you know, it's like
it scales clearly. It
it's
scales. Yeah.
it
So
clearly is. It
yeah,
clearly is. But it's like, dude, like just get over it. And the dude, he's a movie star. Like, I mean, I don't think even before the slap, I don't think he was a huge box office draw, but I think he still had that prestige about him. Like people
yeah,
knew Will Smith was a star. They'd
yeah.
go see a movie with him, and he's just full of charisma and charm, and he still is. Like nothing's changed in that aspect. He's still an incredibly charming and wonderful performer, like one of the best performers that have ever lived. I'm going to say that. Like I think
Yeah.
the dude, he is just an amazing performer.
We grew up watching him, you know, Fresh Prince.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like we grew up with him. Like,
we
Yeah.
did.
yeah, exactly. So
Absolutely.
I've always said this. There's something about Will Smith that I will always feel like this connection to, and I don't know what it is about him, but maybe it's because we grew up together. But I just feel like, again, out of context, if I just turn on the TV and it's just immediately him crying, I don't
Oh,
have to understand
yeah.
why he's crying. I will just immediately start crying. Like
Yeah.
there's something, like I have immediate empathy for this man. And that's been since Fresh Prince, since like I Am Legend, since like, God damn, that episode where his dad comes back and leaves.
Mhm.
Oh, nice
Oh
meeting you
my
too, Lou.
God, what
Yeah.
an episode.
Yeah. No, the dude,
Devastating.
he still has it. And there's this ongoing thread in this movie that I think is great. It's like not only are they like they're getting older, right? Like, and they know they're getting older. They don't write these characters like they're superheroes anymore. They're getting old. Like it's never like I'm getting too old for this shit kind of stuff. It's very much like very subtle, but you can tell they're getting older, and they do talk about it. But Will Smith, particularly his character, he's starting to have these, and I kind of related to this on another level, but he started to have these really bad panic attacks, like anxiety attacks. And the same thing, Christian, like when you watch someone like Will Smith have these anxiety attacks or panic attacks, like it really like grips you and pulls you in, and you're legitimately concerned for what is happening, right? Like this is just one of those guys that you're like, nah, dude, like you can't. In Bad Boys for Life, there was a scene where I legitimately thought that they were going to kill him off. Like there
Yeah,
was a
you
scene
mentioned that. That's
he gets
crazy.
shot, and like you're like they can't be doing this, and it was the Will Smith of it all, like a lot of the attachment there, right? You're like you don't want to watch Will Smith die. So you really feel it on that next level. And that's another thing about this movie I thought it was great was it's focused on two things that I thought were very important, very things that we need to talk about in society more. Mental health among men, specifically men don't like to talk about it. When he's having these panic attacks, someone just kind of mentions to him like, hey man, like have you ever thought about a therapist? But he's trying to act all tough. He's like, no man, I don't need no therapy, whatever. But eventually he's like, I should probably go see a therapist. like you see that evolution of his character, because Jason, Mike Lowry's character, he's a little bit cocky. He thinks he knows everything. Like he's like he's the shit. Like he's 100%, he doesn't need therapy. He doesn't need any of this. But by this point,
man.
what's that?
He's a man's man.
He's a man's man, right? But like this movie really kind of broke that down a little bit more and made you realize even the toughest manly men should seek help if they need it, right? Like mental health is a huge issue. And it also focused on male, soulmates among platonic friends, right? Like, which I thought was really, really fun to see in this context, right? Like you have these two badass cops who are, who have known each other for a long time, but they're totally platonic, right? Like nothing, they're just best friends. They've been best friends for a long time. But there's this ongoing joke with Martin Lawrence's character. He's talking about how, there's two different kinds of soulmates. There's ones with, these private parts and one with these private parts. And he's like, you're mine with a D, you know what I mean? And Will Smith's character is like, what the hell are you talking about? Like this, but it's kind of an ongoing thread. And at the, they kind of realize like, yeah, like we're like soulmates, but like in a different way than like the romantic soulmate thing, which I think is a beautiful thing. Cause I think that does exist, right? Like you have your best friend who you can talk to about anything and everything. That's a form of being a soulmate of each other, right? It doesn't have to be sexual or anything like that. And just friendship amongst men, this movie celebrates really, really well, where it doesn't have to be this super, you can hug, you can, all this stuff, it's okay. It's okay to do this. And the series has evolved a lot in that aspect. In the first two Michael Bay kind of directed ones, that wasn't really a thing, right? It's Michael Bay, right? So it's all like manly men doing manly things, you know what I mean? Explosions, all this stuff. But what these new directors have done, it's taken it into a more emotional direction where it doesn't bog down the story at all, but it gives the characters, they develop and they grow and they're actually people, right? They feel like people now. Not the first two they didn't, but this one they just feel more fully developed. And I thought that was really, really great. But overall, I think in the whole pantheon of these movies, like if I had to rank them, here's my official ranking is, so for me personally, Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys for Life, Bad Boys 1, and then Bad Boys Ride or Die. But that's not saying that it's bad. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I do think it's probably my least favorite of them all if I had to put it in a ranking. But I would still watch it over and over again, right? Like over, I don't know what other movies I'd watch it over, but there's a lot. There's a lot of movies.
That's saying a lot about the series. That like you loved it so much, and this isn't even the best one.
No, not at all. And I really, really loved it. And the series, it's like my Fast and the Furious, right? Like since we're using that as an example, this is a series that I like. This is a series I enjoy watching. Crazy. Manly men doing their manly things, right? Like things blowing up, car chases, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, but this is the movie to start the summer. I would love if you all went to go watch Furiosa. Furiosa is incredible. Someone on my Facebook was talking about how Furiosa, they're kind of not upset, but it kind of bothers them that this one is the movie that brought people back when Furiosa didn't, which I get that. And they're like, I think Furiosa is a better movie. And I was like, yeah, like by a mile, I think it's a better film, like altogether, right? Like it's a better movie. But this is just fun. This is just a good time. Go watch it if you're looking for something to kick off the summer season. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's just a lot of fun.
Bad Boys 1 will always have that special place in my heart because it came out summer of 95. And my parents went through a divorce at the time. And by then my dad was out of the house. We were kind of like, sense of relief, breathe. And I just remember watching that movie and I had that soundtrack and my mom was like, play it as loud as you want, and I still had that cassette, like that was such an epic score. But like from when my dad was there, it's like you couldn't play anything at all really because it pissed him off or whatever. And then just they divorced, and then I remember seeing it like the week after that, and so that's always going to be one of those etched memories,
No, that's awesome. It was actually, I think it was one of the first. I actually think I got that, and I think that and Desperado were the first two VHS tapes that I ever owned.
Desperado.
I bought like I think I bought them at the sale. I think they were at Suncoast, and it was like you buy
Suncoast,
two,
wow.
like it was on sale or something.
It was on sale for $34.99.
Oh,
Suncoast
no,
was pricey.
it had to be no. It had. I think they had. Though they were pricey. They were pricey, but I do know that those were the first two like actual VHSs that I owned that I bought myself. I think I had like saved up money. It was a birthday or a Christmas or
That's
something.
awesome.
I remember.
I miss Suncoast.
Oh, me too. 100%.
Action figures too. They sold those there, and I was like, I worked in the mall, so I was always at Suncoast, and I got dubbed the toy guy.
We had one. We had one here up in at the Washington, or not Washington Square Mall. I forget the name of the mall, but it's in downtown Portland. But it just shut down like 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
So it was like, still in existence.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
Lloyd Center,
like 2005
Mall.
Yeah,
Lloyd
we
Center Mall,
haven't.
but that mall's ghetto as heck, so no one really ever went there. That was why I never went, because I was afraid I was going to get shot.
I seek out ghetto malls because they have like sometimes like these weird
shops.
Moreno Valley Mall, that's the place for you.
I just went to Puente Hills Mall, the Back to the Future Mall,
God,
like a couple days ago. That is sad. That is
it used to
really
be good.
Sad.
It used to be great, and then like
this mall had so much potential. It even had like a ice skating rink in it and everything like that. So like when we first moved up, it was really nice, really cool. It was like as soon as COVID hit though, and like Portland essentially turned into a war zone with George Floyd protests and everything like that. Like it started to like. It's getting better now though. Please, everyone, come visit Portland. I absolutely adore Portland. It's one of my
malls.
Speaking of ice skating rinks, for all the local people here in SoCal, I don't know if people remember this or even know this, but Brea Mall, where the food court is, used to have a freaking ice skating rink with like a big old Canadian flag hanging over it.
Do you remember when they had the fishing thing there back in the early 80s?
That I do not remember.
I remember it was I think it was them or Costa Mesa, and they had a thing with catfish in there. And I remember my mom was taking me, trying to get me to catch a fish.
That's so cool. That's crazy.
Malls were a different thing back then.
That would make sense in Costa Mesa. Costa Mesa is still like the super glitzy, like this is the Versace or like
the Carousel's still there.
Carousel's still there, yeah. That one's like the really like you need permission to walk into some stores.
I rode that Carousel 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Everybody's like, you're a jackass. I haven't ridden this thing since I was a kid, And back then there was normal stores in there. It was like KB and all that. Now it's all snooty upper class.
I don't know what it is I like about dead malls. Like West Covina's half dead. Like half dead. I don't know. People might get mad that I say that, but
go to Moreno Valley. It's bad when the public library is one of the spaces in the mall.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, there's Puente Hills has like a beauty school. There's like Marinello. I even think the beauty school is shut down. Like that's how bad it was. Like the school that they had in the mall is gone.
I went with Nolan a couple of years, 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, because we went in 2008 and the theater was there and everything was alive and well. And then, boy, howdy, 2022.
If it wasn't for that theater and if it wasn't for round one, that place would be gone. They shut down. The whole reason why I went there was for hats. I went to go check out Lids. Gone. Lids is gone. Like
remember, Toys R Us used to be in there too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
crazy. That whole I don't know. It's weird because that whole area they have like a lot of restaurants. It's all popping now, but the mall itself is dead. So I don't know. It's really weird. Anyway,
no, that's crazy. But yeah, anyways, go check out Bad Boys Ride or Die. Highly recommend it.
I want to check it out. That sounds like a lot of fun. It makes me want to like have a marathon. And do all
the cool thing is too, like, I think you should marathon them. But even if you have never seen a Bad Boys movie in your life and you went to go watch this, like you would like it would all.
Do you recommend that?
No, I mean there's.
But I could.
You could. I mean, to really get like a lot of the character arcs and stuff like that, like the character of Reggie, like I was talking about, like if you just saw him and met him, you would just be like, man, this kid's a badass. But then like you would kind of be missing like the kind of the I guess the in joke there and like why it's such a big deal that he's a badass. But so I would absolutely just kind of watch them all.
And they're good movies.
They're good. Yeah, they're all good. Like they're all legitimately fun. Like
was it Téa Leoni?
Téa Leoni's in the first one.
Yes.
The second one, you got Sydney, who is Marcus's sister. She's played by Gabrielle Union, who I really like.
Yep.
Yeah, the third one's really good too, For Life, and yeah, highly just check them out. They're just fun, Michael Bay type movies. Had a blast with them. So yeah, go check out Ride or Die. You will not regret it. So Christian, you want to talk about hats because you like hats.
I think, yeah.
Jason has a really, really cool hat, Death Row Records. But first, real quick, did any of you guys watch any of the new game trailers that came out this weekend? We got a lot of stuff. There was a Ubisoft Forward. There was also an Xbox presentation where they just splurged on a bunch of new games, a bunch of new stuff coming out. I need to shout out one game because I'm a huge fan of the Life is Strange franchise. We got a new Life is Strange game coming called Double Exposure. Comes out in October. Max Caulfield, who was the main protagonist from the first game, is coming back. She's kind of furthering her adventure in life. She's in college now. One of her friends, one of her more recent friends, is murdered and is killed, and she's got to figure out who did it. This game, she gets to it's a really cool concept because each of the games have a different kind of conceit, right? Like the first Life is Strange, you can control time, so you can kind of rewind time a little bit, stuff like that. The second game, you had telekinesis. The third game, you could see people's like emotions and stuff. All of them, you're basically trying to solve something going on. This one, she's actually able to enter parallel dimensions and kind of, so she has one dimension where the friend's still alive and one where she's dead, and she traverses both to kind of figure out, to solve the murder, essentially, which I think is a really cool idea. Anyways, yeah, I'm very, very excited. It's called Life is Strange Double Exposure. There's a ton of other games. You can find them on YouTube or whatever, but there's a lot of good stuff that came out. But anyways, let's talk about hats.
Yeah, I haven't seen any trailers. My YouTube feed right now is all NBA and MLB. So it's just like destroyed. And also weirdly, Southern California gang life. I've been really weirdly obsessed with looking up like La M and like MS-13.
Have you joined the Blood In, Blood Out group on Facebook?
No,
it's fucking comedy. I got to send you an invite for that.
Okay, send that to me. Yeah, so let's talk hats. So here's the thing. Like, if you've been a fan of the show, we always wear hats, all of us. And I guess there's been like an influx of like popularity with fitted hats in the last few years. I think since the pandemic. Which I always just like, I just thought it was like
I've always like fitted is the way to go.
Yeah, we've always been cool. So like I know now, like especially within the last like since the pandemic too, like the whole side patch thing is like the big popularity thing. But so I just kind of wanted to talk about like hats. I've got a few hats. I know Jason, you've got a ton.
I got a few.
You got a few. I see a bag behind you.
There's two bags there.
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to go over like what was it that started with the hats? What's your favorite hat? What do you look for when you're buying a hat? What size are you? I don't know. I'm just like
7 5/8, but I'm not opposed to buying a snapback if it's really cool,
Same. Kevin, what about you?
I have no idea what size I am. I kind of go in, kind of like try the hats on, see what fits.
It's just hard sometimes because they put that stupid little ink tag, and like that doesn't fit on your head with the. Because I do the same, like because Mitchell and Ness and New Era 7 5/8 isn't the same anymore.
It is not the same. Yeah. New Era, I'm 7 5/8. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm 7 1/4. So I used to be 7 5/8, and then I lost weight, and then so that's something that I learned. I did not realize how much fat the human head freaking carries, because I went down from 7 5/8 to 7 1/4. And now, like, I have 7 5/8 still, and I'm swimming in them. So, I mean, I guess that's cool. If I ever grow my hair out, I can like, they'll be fun. But like, okay, so Jason, like, I tend to only buy the teams that like I would wear. So I mostly only have like Dodger and Laker hats. I have this. I bought this hat because this hat is sweet. My sister lives in Seattle. I do love Seattle. I like spend a lot of time in Seattle. Plus,
you want a Kraken hat?
Yeah. Yes. And also the girl that I'm dating, her name starts with the letter S. So for her too, whatever. But yeah, generally, like I'm trying to like venture out and not just only buy Dodger hats, but like Jason, like what kind of like hats are you usually looking out for?
Ooh, whatever looks cool to me. Because I was too at first. I would like because I'm Angel fan and Chargers, Lakers, and Anaheim Ducks. So I kind of stick to my teams, you know. But then I'm like, you know, that hat looks really cool. So like, I bought that Utah Jazz hat, and like, there's a few teams I won't buy. Like I won't wear. Denver Broncos, you have to fucking shoot me in the head before I ever put that shit on. I'd wear a Raider hat before I wore the Denver Broncos. And then who else? Who else don't? I don't know. Really, like I won't wear LA Kings, like just because recent years working at Home Depot, being a Ducks fan, I met a lot of toxic Kings fans that were like shit talkers, and that was enough to leave a taste in my mouth to. Like I decided, like, because I think some of the old school ones are cool looking, but it's just like I'm not going to wear this to please these guys, you know. Like any other team, I'm fine with, but Denver Broncos, LA Kings. I mean, I won't wear a Raiders, but I'll wear it before I ever wear a Denver Broncos hat. Like,
that's fair. I mostly only wear Dodgers and Lakers stuff. I only have a couple of Laker things. I also this is like my favorite hat. I love this. I wore this last time. It's my born and raised Dodger hat.
Sweet.
I like so I don't know if you guys are like familiar with like Born and Raised, like the clothing company, but it's like Sponto out, and rest in peace Sponto, who passed away last year. But out of Venice, you know, Born and Raised. So it's really cool to kind of like for him to release these hats, and then they also like, you know, have a whole clothing line, but they also like pair up with like the Lakers and the Dodgers, and they release like custom stuff, which is like really cool. But yeah, like I looked this up on eBay. This is like $250, and I was like, holy cow,
dude, it's insane. Like,
yeah. So do you? I'm curious. Do you have like super expensive hats?
Yeah, I was at you guys heard of Cousin's Maine Lobster? It's like a food truck. They show up every now and then at different breweries. Well, I just went there because they came to Apple Valley, and I had this St. Louis Cardinals hat. It was a maroon one, and the little cardinal on there was in peach color. It was like one of the Hat Club exclusive ones. And I'm wearing this thing. It doesn't have the sticker on it anymore or whatever. It's hot. I'm probably sweatbands, probably sweaty. And the guy's like, I'll buy that hat off you. I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, I'll give you $200 right now. And I was like, I didn't do it. I didn't end up doing it, but my brother's like, you should have sold it for $200. And then,
damn, for the car.
There's been other hats that I've had that like just really rare. Certain ones I had like Hat Club would do a lot of like pre-orders for like they did the taxi collection, and it had the little pin, you know, like the Hat Club with the taxi. Cool. And I had the Arizona Diamondbacks one. I just thought it looked cool because it was that snake that's like forming a D.
Yeah.
And it was yellow, and the snake was like red fading into orange, so it looked badass. And I got that one, and shit, my brother's like, you seen how much those taxi hats are going for? And he had only gotten like the Angel one. And then he's like, your Diamondback one's going for like $300. I'm like, done. My Diamondback one's going on eBay.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I also know I have I think the most common head size, like the 7 1/4 is like usually the first to sell out, which sucks, which really sucks. But yeah, no, I totally forgot what I was gonna say now. I had something on my mind.
You know what I found that like with sizing, like you were talking about sizing, a friend of mine, this guy John Bear, I've known him forever. He used to be a regional manager at GameStop, but he's been featured as like the Lids hat collector of the year.
Really?
He's been to their headquarters. Like his wall in one of his rooms, he has a room just for hats. It looks like you walked into a Lids, like the way the shelves are. I'm like,
so awesome. I wish.
Yeah, but he told me the difference because there's 3 different hats. He said the best ones that fit the best are the ones that say made in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Some will say made in what, China, and then
there's China, there's Bangladesh, and then there's also I think Taiwan or like United States. But I think the United States ones are actually the most uncomfortable.
They are. They run smaller because I got.
And then they dig like right here on my forehead.
At least that. I'm trying to find.
Bueno.
Also, I know like the black nasties too. What the ones with the black UV. The ones that are on field, those are really uncomfortable for me. Those are like, I know they're like polyester too, so it's like really hot.
I hate those. I had one just because it's what the hat I ordered came in, and I'm like, no, that sucked.
I usually always get the 5950s, the normal ones, but I picked up these A-frames. I like the A-frame. It's a one panel on the front instead of a split panel.
Yeah.
It's not bad, and it really kind of comes to the point. It's still like the same depth. It feels like slightly more shallow, but I don't know. I like it.
Speaking of A-frame, there's an A-frame I just bought like right before we got on.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm all about it. I bought 2 in a row.
Just type in diamonds, seeing diamonds A-frame on Fanatics, and there's some badass like MLB. They have that Argyle diamond pattern, and it just looks awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so seeing diamonds A-frame.
What is your opinion on side patches? Because I know that's like for the last few years has been like the big thing about a lot of hats is like I don't really care that much.
No, yeah, it's like if my hat happens to have a side patch, cool. But in the hat groups, I seen some guy he posted up. He had like 10 black New York Yankees hats, but they all had different side patches. I'm like, to me, that's not enough to buy another black Yankee hat, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's also if it's kind of irrelevant, and I don't really care because I mean, some of them like. It's funny when they throw on a patch that like, why do you get a World Series patch? I'm like, has your team even been to the World Series? Like, why are you? I'm like, did you even win? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I like the ones that have the World Series patch, but it'll have like both teams' logos. So like,
yeah,
like
at least
Angels and Giants on the side. I couldn't find where I left that hat, but it had the Angels and the Giants from that World Series.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I also saw it just this week because we had the Dodger Yankee series this week. In New York, and in New York, they were selling Shohei Ohtani jerseys at the Yankee Stadium, which is like really crazy. So I don't know, like a lot of Yankees fans were like, "What the fuck? Like, why are we selling?" And they had hats that were like half. I forget what their pitcher's name is on the Yankees, but they had his number and then they had Ohtani's number. It was like a split, like half Dodger.
I've seen that one,
and I was like, "Who's that for?" Like, that's crazy. That I don't know.
I'd get something like that though, for sure. I mean,
because it's a one time. It's a one once in a lifetime thing. It's like the big.
Well, like these, I got these. I'm a fan of collabs. You know,
see, that's cool because it's Angels and Ducks. That's so cool.
And these are both made in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
this one I remember when it first came out, they launched that and a jersey, and that guy John, like three or four of my friends were like, "Hey, you going there tomorrow? Let me PayPal you some money." And then my brother's like, "I want in on that action." So I go there buying like 6 hats that day. And they look at me like I'm some kind of scalper or something. I'm like, no, they're all different sizes. Like 2 of them were the same size. It was like me and my brother because, you know, we wear the same size, but all these other ones were different. And then the girl's just like, uh-huh. I was like, are you telling me I can't buy them? And then she's like, she had an attitude, you know? And I'm like, you're making money. And then like, so I break out some hundreds and she's like, we're cashless. I'm like, okay, here's my card, you know.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys prefer? I've been into hats like for a long time, but I'm not like into hats like you guys. I like whatever kind of looks good, whatever kind of shouts to me, you know, calls to me.
What catches your eye?
Yeah. Do you guys prefer like the flat bills or the curved? So like the
I usually curve them, but.
Yeah, I normally like the curves because I know some like you can like end up curving them, but a lot of people, you know, don't, and they prefer wearing them, you know, just like the flat. Like I have a couple flat ones, like probably like this one right here. Like I don't generally prefer the flat ones, but like if I see something, like I'll get it. Like this hat, for example, like I had to have it. So it was like, you know, it was a Vans Friday the 13th, and I was like, had to have it. But generally, I'm gonna go for like the curve.
Every time I see that hat, I always think of you.
Oh yeah, dude, I love this hat so much. But yeah, I don't know. Is it? Do you guys ever like make a call on a hat because of that, or is that just kind of? I know because you can always bend them and everything, right? Like it's like
no, it's the hat itself that'll catch me, like the color, the logo, you know.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I curve all my. I've always like since I was a little kid, I've always like curved them. I think that's like my favorite thing. Like when I buy a hat, I'm like driving in the car and I'm like, I can't wait to get home and curve the friggin' brim. I do the whole thing. I steam it. Like I get my steamer out and I'll steam it. And then I'll like bend it just like perfectly. I don't use like people use like a coffee mug and they'll wrap it around the coffee mug.
Oh, like a rubber band or something.
Yeah, they'll do that. I just use my hands. So I don't know, I'm a sculptor. What am I gonna do?
Try to get like the corner. That's what I do. Like these corners right here. Try to get them to touch and then just let it.
That's exactly it. Like that's what I'll do. I'll take just from right in there and then bring them in together, and then you can kind of start to fold it. You just got to finesse it so you're not folding the cardboard, because you can feel it. Like when you're like, oh shit.
I fucked one up one time because I was drunk. I did that.
Oh,
Luckily,
no.
it was like something, but it was like the curve was slightly to the left, so I looked like an idiot.
Oh, yeah. If you steam it, you can readjust it. So I don't know. I would say I wear my hats. I think I'm like a 60-40. Like I wear my hats like 40% of the time. It could be anywhere 60-40. But I don't know. There are some days where it's just like I haven't done my hair in like weeks, and it's like I just like, why even?
The hats make life so much easier.
Christian, you have a beautiful head of hair. Like I got a lot like going on up here. It's like back here specifically, not a lot left, man. Not a lot left.
I just shaved my head.
Yeah, see that's
where I'm going.
Yeah.
Give it to Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I'm going. I just like. I was watching something and they were making fun of this guy, and they were like, he's like, how many fingers from between your eyebrows and your forehead or your hairline? And he was like 3. He was like, look, it's 3. And he was like, no, you're like, got to start down here. And it was Kevin Hart was making fun of him. It's like, it's 5. And I was like, oh my God. And I ran to the mirror. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
oh dude, I got a 5 head too. Don't worry about it.
When I worked at Toys R Us, they used to give this one guy shit because he was only like 23 and he's already starting to bald. And they're like, man, you're 23 and you already got a runway going.
Oh man. I went to school with a guy. I'll say his name. Jair, you asshole. You Jair. I'm just kidding. I love you, Jair. I went to school with this guy. I love Jair if you're watching. And he's probably knows exactly what I'm gonna say. He was like already, oh dude, that is a Georgia peach.
You gotta love the Georgia peach.
That's a good one, man. Damn.
I got lucky with this one because I was coming back from Vegas and my brother's like, there's a hat coming up on sale on Hat Club at 11 because 11's their time.
Yeah. What color is the UV on that? It's like a lime green.
Like a lime green.
God, that's pretty.
Because they did that in New York with the apple, and then these guys they did a Atlanta with the peach, which makes sense,
So jealous. That's such a good hat.
I stopped in Baker and I got damn lucky I had reception. I was like, fuck.
Is that where's your favorite place to buy hats from?
Probably as of late, Fanatics, just because I get the Fanatics cash and they've been getting some like a lot of the same stuff lids because they own lids now.
Yeah.
So you can find the same ones. But Hat Club, it's been kind of hit or miss because a lot of the ones you get from there now are made in China, so they have that snugger fit. And I don't want to get one of those like hat stretcher things and like.
Yeah. I don't mind because if I buy from Hat Club, I'll just go to Hat Club. There's a couple. We have one in Victoria Gardens, and then there's one in Ontario Mills.
The Mills,
yeah. The Mills one's nice. That one's big. But yeah, I don't know. I like Hat Club. I don't know. Born and Raised has a drop coming on Friday, so I'm kind of curious to see. They had like a Mr. Cartoon drop, and I didn't get it. And those hats are already going for $300 on eBay. I'm so pissed.
Oh, dude, beer pack for Hat Club.
Oh, I know.
It was the Colorado Rockies one, the mountain logo. But they did it in like a gray hat, and they did the mountains, so they look like the mountains on the beer can. Yeah, that one went quick, and it went for like $300.
Here's the thing about hats. This is the thing that I find so fascinating about hats. This is like, it's an industry, right? Like there's a lot of money to be made. A lot of people are making a lot of money off of this, doing these custom hats. And it seems like it's almost, if not 100%, like 99.9999% a dude thing. Like it's such a guy thing. Like girls don't give a shit about fitted hats. Couldn't care less about fitted hats. It's such a guy thing. And it's not like I've never heard her go like, "Oh my god, that guy's hat is so cute." Like that's obviously not why we do. We do this for us. Like if anything, I'm like wearing this hat, hoping that like, oh, I hope that guy notices my hat or something.
You get street cred. That's what I say.
Yeah.
You get props.
That's
like,
really
shit, which hat did I have? It was the Quebec Nordiques, which was the team before they became the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
That was a badass logo. I found that one at a Lids in Vegas, and you always find good hats at Vegas lids because they get everything. Like
Yeah,
out here, you get a lot of California. Out
yeah.
there, they satisfy the
Because they have
world.
so many people coming in from everywhere they want.
I want
Yeah.
to check out that new lids out there, the big one. Like
I know. I saw video. I just watched a video the other day of it.
that's like the first stop when I go out there because I was there in 2021 and I was in hat mode, and I think I hit all the lids that were out there, and
Damn.
like about 4 of them just had like the local Vegas stuff, and then like it seemed like they had a lot of the California stuff that I see over here already. But then there was 2 of them inside the Miracle Mile shops, and that's where I found those cool hockey ones. I'm like, oh shit! It was like the California Golden Seals, like which was a really old school hockey team.
Oh my gosh.
Like
That's so
they
cool.
had the Toronto Raptors with the dinosaur crawling around the basketball, the purple one.
Oh yeah, that's classic. God
Yeah,
damn.
so I had to snatch that up.
There's something I love traveling and wearing like certain hats to certain places. Like so when I was working on the BioShock stuff, they flew me out to the studio out in Boston. And I was like, dude, there's no fucking way in hell. Like I'm running around Boston with my Lakers hat and everybody can shoot me for all I care. I didn't take that thing off, man. Dirty looks there. You know what's funny though? I got dirtier looks in Orange County with my Dodger hat than I did with my Laker hat in Boston, which is really interesting. But that's not my fault. Hey, we didn't steal Shohei. Like, okay.
Hey, I got mad dogged in Vegas. It was the year because it was the Western Conference Final. It was going to be Game 7. Vegas Golden Knights versus the Montreal Canadiens. I just happened to have a fucking Montreal Expo hat on, and people were just mad dogging me. And then like later on, it was worse because Montreal eliminated Vegas to go to the Stanley Cup. So I'm like, oh shit, I better take this thing off before I get mugged.
Oh no. I know that there are certain places in LA where you shouldn't wear certain hats, which is also I think why I always just wear Dodger hats because like I know I feel safe. I really like I want a Jaybirds hat or my God, what are Jaybirds? What are we talking about? Blue Jays. Sorry, I want a Blue Jays hat because their logo is so awesome. Like I like the Braves hat. I'm not a Braves fan. I like a Braves hat.
Just the hat.
But I can't walk around with an A on my hat. In LA, like I'm in LA like 3 days a week, so I'm like I got to be like a little bit more mindful. I think Seattle's also like a dangerous thing to wear, but I think I'm just going to be mindful of where I wear that. I don't know. But yeah, you had that awesome ass like Pacers hat last week, or was it the week before that?
Oh, the yellow,
the
candy corn one.
That was beautiful.
Oh,
God,
dude, I didn't realize I was wearing that. And somebody was talking shit to me, and I noticed the guy had Boston shit on. Asshole. I was like, dude, I just like the hat. It's not my team. And he's like, yeah,
But I mean, I was rooting for the Pacers on that series, so
same here. I'm rooting for whoever's against Boston.
Yeah, just as long as I don't want to see the Boston at the top.
I want to see Charles Barkley eat a bowl of horse shit again.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, Charlie. But yeah.
All right. Well,
dude, hey, one more question. Do you try to match up like hats with like yes. the hat jersey combo shoe? I know some of these guys are crazy. They get like the shoes will match the bill of the hat plus the jersey. Like I try.
I have I specifically will buy I bought these. I have Jordans that match these. This is specifically why I bought this hat. I have so a lot of my shoes have like teal in them. So like I have a lot of hats that have like teal so I can like match to it. It's like really minimal. It's not like I don't want to be like boom, boom, boom. So I just have like a color that like a tiny little color in my shoe. You know what I mean? I don't want to be too matchy.
The In-N-Out Angels hat.
Oh my God. Dude, it's like pristine.
Dude, Brea Mall. Like Brea Mall has been good to me. This was the first hat I ever had like that I bought in the 90s.
I don't have my first hat is a Mighty Ducks hat that I ever
wish
bought.
I had the Mighty Ducks hat like this. It goes for a lot of money now.
Oh, man. I had a few Mighty Ducks hats when I was a kid. My cousins would make fun of me. They're like, that's not a real team. That's a movie.
See, I could care less about the Utah Jazz, but this hat.
That's so.
I also had that jersey, that like sunset jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, just certain things. I could give a crap less about the Atlanta Hawks, but I have that green Steve Smith jersey, the green and blue one.
I know, and on top, first of all, it's Steve Smith, and then second of all, like that's a badass jersey too. So, Yeah. No, I get it. I know. See, now I'm inspired.
Now I want to go on Fanatics and buy a jersey.
I know. I just
Cool.
bought a Mookie Betts jersey last
I
week.
want the Detroit Lions, the black one with the blue words.
I think the Detroit Lions have made possibly like the coolest fucking jersey in baseball. There's that like old English D, just so classy, man. I don't know. I love that thing.
Something about old vintage baseball, you know?
Yeah. All the Cooperstown stuff. Yeah. 100%.
Awesome. Let us know what your guys' favorite hats are. Why do you guys buy hats? What do you love about hats? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to chat with you all. Who's your favorite sports team to wear? Who's your favorite team to represent? Let's chat. Let's talk about that. So these guys will have a lot to say about that stuff. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Such a fun show. Remember, like, subscribe, share with your friends. There is also an audio version that comes out in about a week or so make sure to check that out on Apple.
Nice.
That one's really cool. That is a very cool hat.
Where'd you get that?
Lids, actually.
That's cool. That's amazing.
And
make sure to join us every Tuesday here for a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast, where we have some pretty fun interviews coming up. Also, don't forget this weekend coming to theaters is Inside Out 2. So
right.
I'm going to be watching that on Sunday. So pretty excited to check that out and put out a review for that after I do see it. Deadpool and Wolverine 2 is like a little bit over a month now. So tickets are on sale for that. So
really quickly, Kevin, if I haven't seen any movies all year and I can only watch one this weekend, which one would you recommend? Is it Furiosa?
No pressure.
I have to go with Furiosa.
Okay.
Especially knowing how like you love like Fury Road, like you have to go watch Furiosa.
Okay.
Go watch Furiosa. Don't go watch Strangers Chapter 1. I'll tell you that.
I get that confused with The Watchers. I don't know which one's which.
What's that? Oh, I've heard.
Don't watch either
about The Watchers. The Watcher, yeah. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for checking out the show. Thank you all for joining us. Join us again next week for a brand new episode. And until then, y'all stay safe out there. Be careful. Let us know in the comments too. If you guys watch anything or anything like that, please let us know what you guys watched. If you guys liked it or not like that. Oh, sorry. We got to do the plugs. PastramiNation.com. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and all that stuff. The more you guys check it out and share the articles and reviews that come out, the more the site will grow, and it will be awesome for everybody. You can find me on all of those things as well. Kevin Hoskinson or Kevin_Hoskinson on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Jason, where can they find you?
Napster, MySpace, and probably Jack in a Box in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And Christian, where can they find you?
I might also be. But the problem is I was just at Alberto's.
Nice.
Same places, Christian Nacorda. Let's draw.
Cool, guys. All right, y'all. Have a good day, or have a good night, I should say. Have a good day, have a good night whenever you're listening to this, and take care of yourselves and each other. We will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.